Good evening. Welcome to Dead Knitter Society, the Knitting and Grieving podcast. My name is Mira. If you're new here, welcome. I'm actually trying something a little new today. I've never gone live on YouTube. So we're trying it out, seeing what happens. Maybe I'll do this more and maybe I'll even schedule it so that people can hop in and we can converse. But this is how an episode is happening this week because I live in a world of make it work, get her done. Knitting and Grieving is a podcast where I talk about what I'm knitting, what my mom used to knit, how I'm processing my grief over her passing last year, which I think that's actually the first time that I've said my mom died last year. So, here we are, where fiber arts and grief intersect. While you're here, if you like the videos, subscribe if you'd like to be notified when I come out with new videos. All right, so let's hop right into it. What is Mira wearing? So this shawl is the Reydiant shawl. It is a monster of a shawl. Look at the wingspan on, it's giant, it's beautiful. This pattern is designed by Leslie Ann Robinson, who is Knit Graffiti. She is an amazing Patreon community. I cannot say enough wonderful, good things about her community, all of that stuff. I am just going to open up my Ravelry notebook real quick so that I can tell you what I made this in. I did do this as a test knit for the pattern. This is mirrored, so it's a little weird. So the name is for Rey Skywalker. This is another one of her shawls that is part of the Women of Star Wars inspired. So these little motifs are calling to Rey's hair. I made this April of 2024 into May. I was late on the test knit. My apologies. It did require a fair amount of yarn. It took about just over a skein and a half each of fingering weight yarn. I used Campfire Knits, which unfortunately is discontinued, but I love her stuff so much. The Backcountry base, and I did it in cocoa, which is the contrast color, the brown. And then Sugar Plum, which is this really lovely variegated pink. I don't know if you can see, the pink has like speckles and delightfulness in it. So it's just there's a lot of depth to the color. So I love this thing. I bring it to the office with me because it's super cozy to wrap up in. So that is what I have for what I'm wearing. Show you what Lucia made. So as my dad is going through their house and going through her clothes, and starting to go through boxes of things, he found an entire bag of baby clothes that mom had knit, both for me and for particularly my daughter. She knit a lot of baby things for that oldest grandchild. She knit a lot for the younger grandchildren too. Let's not take anything away from that. But she had a little note card written on it that said, "For Mira. Thank you, past mama, for thinking to the future." So this was one that she made for me, and it is a sleep sack that my daughter wore this. I think my son was born too big for this. He was kind of a moose. The stuff that Bella didn't grow into until she was like 2 months old, he wore for like a week when he was a newborn, and then he outgrew it. But it looks like mom was using some mosaic knitting, like slip stitch, to create this kind of basket weave color work motif, which a lot of these baby items have, which I love. This is definitely a washable, probably acrylic blend, but it's very soft. It's not squeaky like old school acrylic, because again, y'all, I'm in my mid 40s and I wore this thing and it's still in such good shape. I could not tell you if she actually steeked this. It looks like she knit it in like like she knit the 2 pieces and seamed it from what I can tell, but then she installed a zipper, which is a skill that I have yet to learn. So I'll be working on that. But this very sweet baby sleep sack is the magic that my mom made. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay. What I'm working on, I will show you quickly. I am still plugging away pretty monogamously on my Mabel sweater. Mabel's sweater, I guess, is the title of the project. We are going to do a video, guys, on, so I got this tip and info from Rachel is Knitting. And if you like knitting videos, you will love Rachel is Knitting's channel. She is a delight and super funny. But she had a whole thing on organizing your particularly circular needles. So I got the photo case and downloaded. She got it from, I want to say it's Billy and the Boz website. I'll check and I'll put it in the show notes. So that's a project probably for this maybe Saturday morning. I really want to, like, my knitting needles are everywhere. My interchangeable set. If you're not in, like, do I even have it handy? I don't have it handy. So we'll do a little tutorial because a couple of my friends told me that they're here and listening, but don't always know what I'm talking about when I talk about knitting. So knitting needles. We think about knitting needles as those long straight sticks, totally valid. However, I am a big fan of circular needles, which are on these flexible cables. Things fall off of them less easily. I prefer knitting with them. There's less weight at the bottom and it's ergonomically better. I feel like the Swedish chef. Ergonomically better for my wrists and my hands. But some circular knitting needles will actually spin off right here. There's a join, and then you can put different sized needle tips onto the cords. So I'm a big Chowgu needle fan. That's this particular brand. They're a little spendy, but the quality is phenomenal. And I've had my interchangeable set for at least 10 years, probably 15. And the joins are good. I lost 1 or 2 cords to my cat, who seems to think that any cord is actually a snake for her to capture and kill. So that's okay. Anyway, circling back, because at this time of night, my meds have worn off. So I am really close to finishing the yoke of this sweater. So let's see. Let me give you a little. So you're looking at the front of the neckline and then the 2 shoulders. I have probably 20 more rows to finish all of the increases, and then I will separate for the sleeves. So these will get tucked away and then you continue on the body. Still loving this pattern. It's gotten to the point where I don't really need to look at the pattern itself to remember the stitch. It's just a matter of keeping track of my rows, which I am doing with my little row counter. So this 0 actually means that I was on my 10th repeat of the 4-row repeat. So I'm just bebopping along, and I need to do, this counts 11. So I need to finish 5 more, and then we get to separate for sleeves, which will be awesome. Knitting this in Hugh Loco's merino sock base in Gunnison Gorge colorway, which I don't know if it shows up the same on the screen, but it's like this beautiful gray that has these blue undertones that I am in love with it. It's gorgeous. Onward to. So you know how everybody has narratives about themselves, the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves that can be about our successes and then are sometimes also about our limitations. This is a story about my bullshit stories about my own limitations. So, like, part of this whole blog was that I don't knit like my mom. I can't create my own things. I need to follow a pattern. So I was starting to go through my works in progress and then also finding stuff that I had finished. Sorry for the noise, guys. And I came across this bag of 3 hats that I knit. This was worn by my now giant 5'11", 16-year-old. But he wore this as a baby. I used this. This yarn came from leftovers from the very first full sweater that I knit that was a baby sweater for him. One of these days I'll get the picture of it up. Don't remember the yarn base. We'll need to go look it up. But this is a seed stitch ear flap, and the pattern was a garter stitch flap. And your girl here, 15 years ago, decided that she was going to alter the pattern without neuroses and without self-doubt, and just did it. I'm really curious, where did this narrative come from? When did I adopt it in the past 15 years that I can't take creative chances? And I bring this up. I was leading a group for my internship over the summer, and one of the presenters that we had did art in practice, which is based off of a book. And they talk a lot about the inner censor that wants to squelch your inner artist. And I think my inner censor was allowed free reign of my brain at some point, because I also found these little baby caps. I made this pattern up. I took a stitch pattern that is this cabling pattern, and I made a hat, and then I actually wrote this pattern down at some point, and I called it the Wandering Cables Beanie. I was going through my Ravelry stuff and found that I had actually created a pattern, named it, wrote it, hadn't yet graded it for different sizes, but so I can do this. I'm not the person that I thought, or that I had been telling myself I was, I guess. I've been telling myself stories that are bullshit. So, knowing that, so these I think are knit in Lamb's Pride Brown Sheep. They're a little squishy. I'm not sure that I would actually, they're not super soft for next to skin, but I'm still really proud of these. I even managed to do really nice little crown decreasing. It looks pretty nice, I think, on the crown decrease. I don't know how well you can see that. I keep turning it the wrong way. So I have, I want to say it's Malabrigo worsted. Something, it's soft, it's lovely, and I have a bunch of random skeins, and I think I'm going to cast on some more of these and play with this a little bit, making different sizes and seeing how I can make the repeats work out. And who knows, maybe you'll see a free pattern launching at some point here in the near future, or distant future. I don't know. Near future seems really scary as soon as it comes out of my mouth. Okay, and here's why I know that the universe has a plan. Last episode, I talked about how the very first sweater in Elizabeth Zimmerman's Knitter's Almanac is a steeked sweater. And for non-knitters, steeking is when you take a circular in the round piece of fabric and you cut that shit to make it if you've made a circular yoke colorwork sweater and then you cut it, you could make it into a cardigan without having to do extra hard work for back and forth knitting. Okay. But the idea of cutting knitted fabric, I go Nathan Lane in the birdcage about it. Okay. So this is why I know the universe has a plan. My sweet soul sister, my logical family, had a kind of unfortunate accident on Friday in which her arm was broken. And as emergency responders are wont to do, they cut off both a jacket that she got in Ireland, like a nice Barber jacket, and also her souvenir Irish knit sweater that she had gotten on a trip to Ireland. And you'll see, yes, this got cut right off. Because the universe is telling me that dealing with cut knit fabric is something that I can do. So yeah, see, they cut through this sleeve. So here's my thought. I am going to try to reinforce where this side is a vest and clean it up and see if I can make both sides be a matching vest so that I can salvage this for her. What I'm thinking I may do is do the pickup crochet stitches to stabilize it and then cut and clean that up. I may also just pick up stitches, like it's a little bit different than steeking, but pick up the stitches to just knit like an I-cord border or something. I'm going to play with this because then my backup plan, if I fail at that, is that I'm going to take the body of the sweater, which has been not chopped up, and do what I'm doing for Charlie's sweater and make this into a throw pillow cover. So the universe was like, Mira, you hush with all of your insecurity and you just here, figure it out for your best friend. So whenever you think that you really can't do something, sometimes the universe sends you a lesson so that you can learn how to do it for the people that you love. Yeah. And I also got on my last video, again, thank you to anybody who ever comments. I love your comments so much. But I got a great suggestion to start with either a baby sweater and try steeking it, or to do like a koozie, you know, you knit a circle and then steek it and then put buttons in it, so that it can be like a French press koozie to keep it warm while it's brewing. So, yeah, those are the thoughts that we have for tonight. I don't know how this is going to post. I may end up re-recording it. I did really like putting music on that last, I think it was episode 7. There was like, you know, little title on it. Who knows? We're just figuring it out as we go here. So with that is what I have for you tonight. I definitely appreciate, I've been kind of talking with a few more friends who are now becoming aware that I'm doing this little project, who've also lost parents. And I think the general consensus is that that is an experience that it like fundamentally changes the landscape of who you are, like at some like cellular level. And just knowing that other people feel that way has been immensely helpful to me. Even though I still get, you know, and I'm still a very new griever, like technically speaking, early grief lasts for like 3 years. So I definitely am still in sneak attack city where, you know, I cry in my car on the way to work, pull my shit together, do my thing, cry over a dish that I'm making, or, you know, a note card that mom left for me somewhere. So yeah, wherever you are in that grief, grief is such a wild and just unruly child. And I hope that you're so tender with yourself and it as you learn to coexist. Yeah. So that's what I've got for you tonight. I will be back next week and maybe even sooner, depending on how my homework goes this week, because I would like to get a more knitting focused video up with like needle organization and do we keep knitting things or do we just frog them and repurpose the yarn? So yeah, with that, I hope you have the most wonderful week. We're settling into January. I'm still remembering to write 2025 on dates. It won't last. I'll get into February and it'll be 2024 again. But I hope that life is gentle with you today and this week, and that you can move forward with love in your heart. I will talk with you next time.